Welcome back to Red Pill Game Reviews. My name is Eincrow, as you might expect, but this video is something that I didn't expect. I have just played through Battlefield 4's single-player campaign, and I didn't think that I would be making any videos on it, so I didn't do my usual process of record damn near everything in the game. But there were some things in the game that caused me to have thoughts that I wanted to share. It has to do with a recurring theme on this channel: virtual women in video games, and though I don't think Battlefield 4's campaign deserves that full red pill review treatment, I can at least talk about this one aspect of it anyways. Like I said, I wasn't really planning on recording Battlefield 4, so I don't have clips of everything I'm going to talk about. And if you've seen my red pill reviews, then you know I like to show the proof that what I'm saying actually happened, and had happened as well as I described it. In my final play session of Battlefield 4's campaign, I screwed up. I didn't do a check to see that I was recording properly, and, well, I fucked up and no sound was recorded for some of the footage. I used 2 sound devices on my machine and switched between them regularly, and I forgot to change DxStory's recording setting to the relevant sound card. Oops, it happens, but some of this footage has no sound. I apologize for that, but not a big deal. I didn't want to replay any of the parts that I'd already played through and recorded, and I couldn't anyway since I've already uninstalled the game in a fit of rage over the waste of time that is its stupid multiplayer part. If you're someone that can unload your light machine gun into a guy about 4 yards away from you and die to him and have him still at 100% health, then I guess I admire your patience for bullshit in your competitive multiplayer FPS. But that's not me, so the game is gone. But back to this video. I'm not really sure what it is. Could be the first in a series of mini reviews on games that I play, with whatever my thoughts on them happen to be. They'll have minimal editing and should be quick enough to produce to fill in between the big, meaty red pill reviews. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, so enough prefacing. What is it about Battlefield 4's campaign that brought me to make this video? Well, somebody at DICE, or more likely their publisher EA Games, decided virtual women needed to have a significant role in Battlefield 4's single-player campaign. I seem to recall that EA hired Anita Sarkeesian as a consultant at some point, so they are the ones who probably told DICE, this is what we want in Battlefield 4. And let me tell you, DICE did not fucking disappoint their masters. They went Gears of War 3 on it and made a woman a member of the player's squad. The game starts with a typical squad of 4 male Marines on a special op, Tombstone Squad. But the squad leader dies, and you have to do the next mission with only 2 men backing you up. The next mission is to save a few Chinese VIPs, a man and his supposed wife. A jerk from the CIA named Kovic is also with them, and he is the temporary 4th squad member on the next mission. So after that, there's an EMP blast that fucks up the US Navy fleet, and the warmongering Chinese leader, Chang, attacks. At some point during this attack, I ended up back on the medical bay, which was where I had dropped off the male and female Chinese VIPs, and I find that the woman is kicking the ass of these 2 male Chinese soldiers in hand-to-hand combat. Ah, Jesus Christ. That's what I was thinking at the time. Yeah, so she defeats these 2 male Chinese soldiers with her bare hands, then she picks up a gun and she temporarily joins our squad as we plow through scores of Chinese soldiers and shoot down helicopters and all that kind of awesome action shit that you get in these types of games. So we beat back the Chinese assault, and the next mission is to take advantage of a storm that has blown through, a really heavy, nasty storm that has grounded all the Chinese air support. So we are going to assault the city from the beach, and we're going to attack this airbase and destroy the planes. Hannah volunteers to be a part of this desperate assault, and she's a member of the squad from this point until the end of the game. Now, I get that desperate times will often call for desperate measures, and a trained Chinese special operative might be more useful in the assault rather than sitting around on an EMP-disabled ship, even if she is a woman. But DICE was very clever in how they wrote this story, and this is the only time you really have to suspend your disbelief as to why a female foreign agent would be allowed to work with Marines. The rest of Hannah's time in Tombstone isn't too questionable. She joins the squad this once, and then the rest of her time there is just a matter of shit happens, and there's really no other option other than for her to be a part of the squad. Very clever that DICE wrote the story in this way, and I'm able to appreciate that. So that's the background on this character. Now, I'll explain why I didn't enjoy the fact of this character's presence for more than 2/3 of the game. The scene where she knocks out not one, but 2 men with her bare hands pretty much sets the stage for the type of female character we're dealing with. I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I didn't notice how she had disarmed both of these men, or if the game had even bothered to show how such a thing had happened. But even with the knowledge of hindsight that at the time the Chinese attackers thought she was their ally, I just can't believe that she would be able to disarm them both. When we came up on this scene, one of the guys in the squad was like, "Oh, she can fight." Yeah, no shit, huh? I had flashbacks to that clown show called Banshee, where the woman fights a Russian guy for literally half of the fucking 1 hour long show, and she ends up winning the brutal, protracted fight. It was some of the worst shit I've ever seen put to film, and this scene reminded me of it. Just terrible memories. Anyways, this Chinese woman, Hannah, is portrayed as having a large number of skills, vast knowledge, and an iron grasp on her emotions, and no relevant limitations in physical strength or endurance. In short, she is portrayed as nearly flawless, even in the extreme and terrifying wartime situations of Battlefield 4. She never fucks up. She never displays weakness or uncertainty, and this is in stark contrast to the other 2 main members of the squad. As one example, Irish is afraid of heights, but they don't give any such examples of fears for Hannah. And she definitely never gives the slightest sliver of a reason for a rational and fair-minded person to believe that she has no business being there. Based on what I witnessed of her performance in the game, I can't ever say that Hannah shouldn't have been a member of Tombstone Squad, because she is nothing but an asset. That is indisputable. DICE didn't want there to be any crack through which a reasonable person could conclude that Hannah can't hack it, so her combat performance is unimpeachable. The obligatory Black Squad member that I just mentioned, Irish, is the only person in the game that openly doubts Hannah. There were no apparent reasons to doubt Hannah, and she had already proven that she could mow down dozens of Chinese men just as well as the next guy, so Irish is obviously a prejudicial asshole, right? Even me, I couldn't help but feel that he was. At one point, Hannah comes right out and asks Irish if he has a problem with a woman being in his squad. And this guy's answer is fucking unbelievable. He says he doesn't have a problem with women, he has a problem with liars. Now, obviously, Hannah is not a woman. She's a virtual woman. So I just want to be absolutely clear about this. We're not talking about real women. This is a figment of somebody's imagination. It's a virtualized representation of a Chinese woman. But from the perspective of Irish, it is a real woman that he's dealing with. And what kind of an idiot would want his small squad of only 4 people, upon whom he is relying to get the job done, and also, hopefully, to keep his ass alive, why would he want to have a woman be a member of this very limited number of people? What kind of person who really cares about his own survival and the accomplishment of his mission would have no problem with a woman in his squad? Sure, Irish, you're a member of the U.S. Navy, and your nation has nice ideals about equality between the sexes. But can those ideals be turned into something that's useful in an actual combat situation? Is body armor that has been mystically imbued with an enchantment of magical feminism stronger than Kevlar? If not, then fuck that shit. It's a good thing that this is just a video game, and the big vests of gear these guys are carrying are just for show. I mean, look at how much Hannah carries. Barely anything. But at least she brought some red scissors in case you want to clip coupons in the downtime between firefights. There is one part of the game where having a woman in one of the limited slots in your squad instead of a man might have caused an issue. Yeah, DICE made damn sure that there were no situations where Hannah's physical limitations due to her sex might become apparent. And this one situation is really most likely me just reading too much into it. The character that I'm playing, Wrecker, he gets stuck between a car and the side of a bridge during that big storm, and Hannah and Irish try to push the car off of me. A huge ship is about to slam into the bridge, but they can't budge the car. Even after the other squad member, Pack, lifts up the parking brake and starts to help them push, they still can't move the car off of me. That ship smashes into the bridge, we get thrown into the water, but fortunately, nobody gets injured. Let's be absolutely clear about what I'm about to say next. It's pure speculation to think that that car might have been successfully moved if 3 men had been pushing on it instead of 2 men and 1 woman. This is really the only time that the game shows Hannah straining physically. It might have been more apparent that Hannah was failing to do something that a man could have done if there had been a situation in the game where she alone was attempting some feat of strength. But the game has almost no feats of strength on the part of soldiers at all, probably intentionally. That way the player's mind never wanders into thinking, well, thank God there's a man here to do this feat of strength because Hannah wouldn't have been able to do it. The player never thinks that thanks to the game never featuring such a situation. Well, Irish's doubts about Hannah, which were non-woman based of course, turned out to be true, sort of. I won't say specifically because I'm trying to keep spoilers about this epic, era-defining story to a minimum. But events happen, and Irish decides that she has earned his trust. Then their relationship turns just disgusting. Irish is complimenting her way too much. He barely even knows her.
Who are these guys?
Wrecker's squad leader. She's Chinese intelligence and she's good people.
How do we get to the airbase?
So I had to deal with this sappy shit for the rest of the game. Whatever, not really that big of a deal. Wrecker, remember the player character, he's supposedly the squad leader, but he's Lieutenant Gordon Freeman, so he doesn't actually do much leading. Most of the plans are hatched up by Hannah and Irish. Hannah doesn't really have an official role within the squad, but she's full of amazing ideas that always work, so she's more the squad leader than the soldier without a mouth.
Watch the explosives. Not sure this is a good idea.
Pretty certain it's the worst idea ever.
Let's do it then.
Now, the hilarious thing about having her in the squad was her battle barks, her battle chatter.
Machine gun!
I'm moving up! Sniper, give me AO! This is golden. Sounds like I brought an 11-year-old boy to war with me.
BMP! All right, Sergeant!
Focus on the BMP!
This kind of shit doesn't do good things for my immersion, but it's good for a laugh. And there's one other woman of note in the game.
I'm sending hands to help distribute the MREs. Yes, meals ready to eat, yes. Okay, go.
Major,
You follow him.
I guess we found Greenland. Let's go, Wrecker.
Major Greenland is in charge of a bunch of soldiers fighting the Russians in some place, and she's a really, really foul character.
Why are y'all still around?
Short version, ma'am, we are caught behind enemy lines.
We wish to get back to our ship.
If wishes were horses, you beggars would ride.
The USS Valkyrie, likely in the Red Sea by now.
Oh, fuck me. Did you fall off? Where's my coffee?
Now this gets me to my main complaint about all this shit with female characters in Battlefield 4. It's actually an issue I'd written about in the script of the BioShock Infinite Red Pill review, but I later decided I was going to cut that section short. There is no reason for these characters to be female. They bring nothing uniquely feminine to the experience, other than their female character models and their women voice actresses. These characters all could have been men, with only minor modifications to the dialogue. As a result, my opinion is that the Hannah and Greenland characters should have been men. I mean, who gives a shit about the fact that you're looking at a virtual representation of a female if it requires you to suspend disbelief in an unnatural way? And yes, I know I'm supposed to be very impressed by women's equal ability to fight wars and shit like that. But you know what? This is Red Pill Game Reviews. Fuck all of that. I don't think any story writer in his right mind would have felt that Hannah's role had to be a woman to make his vision for the character work. There is just nothing that I can tell by looking at Hannah that would suggest that. The character's womanhood is mere window dressing. As I've said, it's a female character model and a female voice actress. So I've talked about the significant female warriors in the game. And Battlefield 4 doesn't have a whole lot of them, but of course the ones that are there are large and in charge. I mean, that's pretty much what you've got to expect from this type of politically correct shit that gets put in games artificially. But it's hard to not notice the fact that I didn't get to kill one single goddamn virtual woman in Battlefield 4. Not even one. I don't think DICE, or more to the point, EA Games, fully understand what their ideals of sexual equality mean when it comes to warfare. They seem to think that it means you have a couple of women who are just so amazing and they're so in charge, and of course they never die, they never suffer, or anything like that. They are just there to be awesome. No, let's get serious. We need killable female human enemies in any video game that claims to be progressive on these matters. And this time, I'm serious. Anybody can put an ass-kicking woman into their game. Done to death, fellas. Go ahead and give me a virtual representation of a Chinese woman in my Battlefield 4 campaign experience. Fine, she can be as awesome as you'd like to make her. But give me hundreds more of them to shoot at, too. And don't say it ruins the authenticity of the wartime experience. You guys don't give a shit about that authenticity when you're putting a woman in situations where she would be very likely to fail in real life, and then fine-tuning your story so that no situations that might showcase her limitations actually ever happen. Don't think I didn't notice that. Seriously, though, I think a video games developer from the great egalitarian land of Sweden could figure out how to make this stuff semi-work. I'm all for video games developers doing whatever the fuck they want to do in their video games and realizing their visions. But I reserve the right to blast them if they are blatantly sacrificing the gaming experience in an effort to appeal to modern fashions. The woman who is the equal, if not the superior, of men in combat is pure bullshit. Feminist ideals are so totalitarian, so arrogantly intrusive, and so sure of their immunity from public criticism that they feel they can interject a woman as the equal of men in any place, no matter how implausible, and we as gamers are just supposed to accept this shit, because we wouldn't want to be called insecure or afraid of women or anything like that. Yeah, well, you just try that around here. And did I mention that for all of Hannah's excellence in the fine art of killing men in combat, that ain't all? She also has a medical degree. Can you believe that? That's just insulting.
You have an engineering degree now?
I got an engineering degree like you got a medical degree.
I do have a medical degree.
Is this extra bit of "she's so awesome" really necessary? As if we're so brain dead that we didn't get the message already? Well, it was the straw upon my humped back that made me come to the final conclusion that the Hannah character is just unacceptable to me. The game ends with Wrecker, and by extension me since I'm playing him, making the decision about who to send on a suicide mission that will save the galaxy from the Reapers. That will blow up the enemy commander's flagship. I was fucking around a bit too much, and I didn't make a decision in a timely manner. I was surprised to see that making no choice was actually a valid third option. Neither Hannah nor Irish die, but the other VIP we had rescued, the male one, he dies on the ship, and I guess China loses its chance for a more freedom-loving government or some shit like that. I don't really care, and the game didn't even try to make me care. I was going to replay the mission at least once to see what would happen if I chose Hannah or Irish, but like I said, that time where I had really bad luck with the bullet detection in multiplayer mode, I rage quit and deleted the game, so that couldn't happen. And I don't even really care enough to look up a video of it on the YouTube. Battlefield 4's campaign is pretty good from a gameplay perspective. I enjoy the shooting, movement, graphics, and sound effects of Battlefield 4, so it was nice to experience all of that without having to play the god-awful multiplayer mode. But the story is fairly uninspired, and I didn't like that Hannah was in my squad. And yes, it is because she is a fucking virtual woman. Jesus Christ. Don't make me insert some footage of fire women here. The Battlefield series tries to have a semi-plausible feel to it in everything it does, so this type of stuff doesn't fit the setting. Pampered princesses like Sarkeesian can't tell you guys how to make a good war game, EA. She complains about death threats from fucking internet trolls. Do you guys really think she could have anything of value to say about situations where death is an actual, real possibility? No! It's time to fire her ass. My name is Eincrobe, and thank you for watching this first episode of Red Injection. What's that name about? Well, an injection works faster than a pill, and these videos are shorter than the Red Pill reviews, so it's kind of like, you get it? I mean, is that clever? No? All right. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Major.